mysterious person behind the screen. Yeah, I know. What's that about? My room's having a clear out. Well, not so much of a clear out. I'm clearing out my room because it's being repainted, redecorated, etc. And I'm getting a brand new shelf, so I won't have to stack things on top of each other anymore. I'll have more space for everything. That does mean I'm having to move my whole collection out into boxes in another room somewhere, because if paint gets all over that, then that could be disastrous. So I'm in the process of moving that at the moment, moving my Doctor Who shelf. All my posters are gone, like every poster in my room has gone, apart from my calendar. So it looks very bare, and it bothers me, but you know what, I'm fine. Everything's been put into boxes, that's why that sort of looks half done, half not, because I haven't started moving the top bit yet. But anyway, topic of conversation today. Old news, you might say. I think it's been 2 or 3 weeks since we heard that Jodie Whitttaker was going to be our 13th Doctor. And I know I said, like, after the last video, what was the last video I did? I can't even remember. Collection update. I said, oh, in a couple of days you're going to get my full thoughts on Jodie Whitttaker. And it never came, because I've been away, and family things have happened, so I have no time to record. I'm recording now, and my general thoughts now, I've had weeks to process this in my head and think about it properly and consider different points of view. I'm happy. I'm quite happy that we've got a female Doctor, because if this is the change, I've always said the show needs a change since, I think, like Series 8. The show needs a desperate change, and if this is it, if this is what Chris Chibnall can bring, this is pretty much the most drastic change you can get. I'm okay with it. I don't really have a problem with it. I've seen some people saying it doesn't make sense within canon. Well, it does. We've seen many times that Time Lords can change gender. We've heard mentions and examples of that, and we've seen examples of that with the Master. So I don't know why people are saying it doesn't make sense. And other anti-female Doctor arguments are, well, you wouldn't have a female James Bond. I'm a massive Bond fan, and yeah, you wouldn't have a female James Bond, because that doesn't make sense, because James Bond is a human character. He doesn't have the ability to change shape, face and gender at will. I know, like, there are theories for why the actors change, but it's just something you have to go with. He can't regenerate. James Bond is not a Time Lord, therefore having a female James Bond wouldn't make sense if you were setting it in the chronology that comes after Daniel Craig. So, unless you're starting a whole new series, but in which case it wouldn't be James Bond, would it? That's a whole other argument. But comparing the female Doctor to James Bond just doesn't make sense on many levels. But I've seen people go so over the top with this, like they're going to bomb the BBC because of her casting. Those people need help. Seriously. People are saying now, like the small minority who are really against this are saying, well, my Doctor is male. I don't feel like my Doctor is on screen anymore because, you know, my Doctor is male, he shouldn't be anything different. But, like, you've got 54... I was about to point to there, but all my DVDs are gone. You've got 54 years, soon to be 55 years, of a male Doctor. You've got countless Big Finish stuff. All those episodes, all those stories with a male Doctor. And I don't... You've got all that. People who want a female Doctor, who have wanted a female Doctor since the show, since the first regeneration happened, pretty much, they've had to sit through a male Doctor for all that time. And let's give this a chance. It's gonna be drastically different. But it's gonna open the show to a whole new audience who, like, I've seen so many people, like, who I know, who don't watch Doctor Who, who have just said, I'm going to start watching it now because I think this casting is going to inject some life into it, and it's going to be interesting to see where it goes, and it is. And I feel like just give that a chance. You've got 54 years of white male leads. Would it hurt so much for in 2018 just to have a female lead for once? And if it doesn't go, like, if it completely fails, if it's the worst thing ever, and if it just doesn't work for whatever reason, we've got a safety net. I believe, I don't know which one's true, but I've heard some reports say the BBC have greenlit until series 15, and I've heard some reports say the BBC have greenlit until 2020, so that'll be like, what, series 13. So whichever way, we've got a safety net. We've got a little test run for one series. If it doesn't work, they could easily, for series 12 or series 13, recast it and do a male again. So I'm not saying it's gonna fail, I'm not saying I want to fail, but if it is bad, and if people don't like it, they could easily change it up, because we know that we've got those series coming. We know that we've got other series after series 11 with whoever's going to be leading the show, whether it be Chibnall or whatever. We've got like chances. This is just taking a risk, and a big risk at that, and I applaud him for that. I applaud Chris Chibnall for just taking a risk and just going for it. And this was always going to cause a storm in the community, but it's just blown up. It's really, people have argued so much about it, and it's just sort of like, I said this when, like, I think it was like a day or two after it happened. One of my friends went, this ruins it, and I sort of went, well, look at it this way. When I was growing up with David Tennant, all like 10 years ago now, and going to the shops and buying David Tennant figures and action figures of, the RTD era, my hero was that Doctor. My hero was that male Doctor. And now for this new generation, and a load of girls' heroes was as well, that male Doctor. And now for this new generation, a whole group of new kids who were the same age that I was when, and a lot of other people were when David Tennant was the Doctor, and Christopher Eccleston was the Doctor, and Matt Smith was the Doctor. They are going to look upon Jodie Whitttaker, and they are going to say, yes, that is the Doctor, regardless of what gender they are, whether they're a little boy or a little girl. They're going to say, that is the Doctor, that is my hero, that is who I'm going to aspire towards. And they're going to do that regardless of the gender. It's going to open the appeal of the show wider. It's going to make it like it was in that era, where it was the talk of the time. It was, people were talking about it at work, at school. It was massively popular, and this is going to extend that audience so much. And all these little kids and all these little girls and boys are going to look to this Doctor, to this woman, to this female Doctor, and they're going to say, that is my hero, that is the Doctor, and that is who I want to be, that is who I want to aspire to be like. And when you look at it like that, when you look at the fact that this casting is going to inspire so many new people, and is going to be, the character's going to be an inspiration to so many new people, when you look at it like that, I don't have any issue with it at all. Every time I think of an issue that's going to come up that I'm sort of against it, I always think of that image of a young family going to a supermarket and buying Doctor Who toys with her face stamped all over the packaging. I always think of that image, and just, I'm okay with it again, because it's almost like a passing of the torch. It's like, fans of this show have had this, I'm going to come back to this point again, we've had all this for 54 years. It's almost like time to hand it over for a new generation to be inspired by this casting. And I've had no problems with like people say oh, everything's got a female lead nowadays, and it's like, well, no, they haven't, have they? The Sun put out, as well as that annoying, when they put out new pictures of Jodie Whittaker after the casting, the headline was like, where are all the male heroes going? And it's, okay, Batman, Spider-Man, Superman, Aquaman, James Bond, Indiana Jones. How many male heroes are there in pop culture right now? It baffles. Superhero movies are like the king of blockbusters at the moment, and Wonder Woman was like the first full female-led superhero movie in years, and the last one was like Elektra, which was awful, and before that Catwoman, which was awful, and before that Supergirl, which was awful, and Wonder Woman was really good. So it's like all the whole superhero movie market is saturated by a male presence. It's just fact. Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, all of the, apart from Black Widow, all of the Avengers are male. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I love the Marvel Cinematic Universe a lot. It's just I adore that universe, and there's some kick-ass female characters in it. But Captain Marvel is going to come and be the first female lead in that. But my point is, there's no shortage of white male heroes out there. At all, and anyone who says that everything's being replaced by female leads are just, they're being so stupid, because it's not. It's completely not. Also, I sort of feel like it's far too early to judge anything major. It's far too early to say yes, she's a good doctor, or yes, she's a bad doctor. We haven't heard her speak as the Doctor. We haven't seen her personality. All we've seen is her taking down a hoodie and walking towards an awfully photoshopped in TARDIS. That's all we've seen. We don't know what her costume's going to be. I think they've confirmed that's not her actual costume. So there's that. We don't know what her costume's going to be. We don't know what her general look is going to be. We don't know what her personality is going to be. We don't know if she's going to have a new TARDIS interior. We don't know if she's going to have new opening titles. We don't know what the tone of her hair is going to be. We don't know what her companion is going to be, whether it be male or a female. Well, we don't know. We do not know at all anything about this. All we know is that it's Jodie Whittaker. That's all we know, and people are already saying, oh, it's the worst thing to happen to the show. And it's like, but you haven't seen anything. This happened with Peter Capaldi as well. It's like, people immediately jumped on his case because, oh, he's old and he's not hot like Matt Smith and Dave Tennant. And it's like, well, give him a chance. You've not seen anything. And by now, everyone loves him. So it's like, it's the cycle every time that just pisses me off, because everyone's just like, oh, it's the worst thing ever. Oh, Matt Smith, he's too young, he looks like Frankenstein, he's not as hot as Tennant. Oh, Peter Capaldi's so ugly, he's so old. And then by the end of their eras, they love him. They love the Doctor. And it just, just give him a chance. You've seen nothing. So please, just give Jodie Whittaker a chance. Please, just watch her first episode. If you don't like it, fine. But just make that decision when you've seen something. Not when you've not seen a single piece of material featuring her Doctor other than a short publicity clip that's not going to be included in the show. There's not going to be from an episode, with an awfully photoshopped TARDIS of her taking down a hoodie and walking towards it. It's not hard. Just give it a chance. You've not seen anything that would suggest that this is going to be bad or good. I'm personally happy about the casting, but for the reasons I've mentioned in this video, not for anything that I've seen within the show itself. And, just give it a chance, please. I'm sorry, yeah. Either way, Jodie Whittaker, happy. It's a good step in the right direction for the show, I think. It's going to inspire a whole new generation, and that's that's good. It's time to hand the TARDIS keys over to a whole new generation of fans and bring it on. You know, yeah. Just, I'm happy. At the end of the day, I'm quite happy. So what do you think now that you've had, you know, a couple of weeks to think it over? Are you happy about this? Are you not? You know, what are your points for and against? So, also, you know, it's depends on how it's handled. I've said this before. If it's just the Doctor, but she's a woman now, fine. But if they constantly bring attention to, or like if her first words of regeneration is, I've got lady bits now, it's sort of like, just don't draw attention to it. Just have her be a woman. No, I don't know. It's all down to how it's handled and how it's written, and if they flaunt it in your face, I'm not going to like it. But, you know, what do you think? I'm personally quite happy now. So if you did enjoy this video, this long video, please like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you in my next one. Take care now.